Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on this LinkedIn Live. We are thrilled to be here with Thibauld and Fairmint, and it's one of our portfolio companies that we've gotten to know over the past couple of years. We love what they're doing, and I'm hoping after the next 15 or 20 minutes, you will love what they're doing as well. But thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Zach. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. But before we get into fun things about Fairmint, maybe a little bit about you and a little bit about, like the question that we've almost asked everybody is, if you weren't doing something in legal tech, which I don't know if you think of yourself as legal tech or fintech, but if you weren't doing something within one of those two verticals, what other industry or role would you be passionate about? Would you want to be doing right now, you think?
Well, for me, it's an easy one. I'd be in crypto.
Okay.
Crypto is pretty fascinating for me. And actually, Fairmint is like the collision of two visions from my co-founder, Joris, who came from the equity investment world, and from me, who came from crypto.
Well, I was going to say you are in crypto.
We are, but we are trying to hide it. The goal for us is not to look like a crypto company, right? Like we use crypto on the back, but it's like nobody wants to know if you're using AWS or Google Cloud. So we are using better rails, which are crypto rails, but we are not trying to shove it off like our customer's throat.
No, look, and I think that's kind of the secret these days is like, how do you use blockchain technology, but like not be only talking about that, but having that power things in the background. Like that's the real, when your application is so compelling that people don't even realize that it's being run on it. That's the, and I think that's been almost a shift in the last couple of years, where 3 years ago, that's all they were talking about. And now it's almost like, no, how does this fade into the background to build a great business? Regardless.
Exactly.
I believe you're in your home locale in Connecticut, and your accent implies you're from somewhere different. But I'm curious, if you could be anywhere in the world right now with no restrictions, where would you be and why?
Oh, so yeah, I'm French. But I guess like if you ask me that, like right now it's winter. I'm a big skier. I'd be at the top of a mountain and just like waiting to ski it down. We'll wait for Fairmint IPO. I'll do that after the IPO, not before.
There you go. All right. So maybe a little bit jumping over to Fairmont. What compelled you to start this? How did what's the vision? What's the what inspired you to start this, and what problem are you guys thinking about these days?
Right. So it really started, as I said, like with Joris, my co-founder. So we knew each other for a long time. And so he was coming from the equity investment world. I was coming from crypto. And we both really joined forces to say, hey, like we want to provide the best tool for founders to let their community invest in them, right? Like, so make it as easy as possible to raise from your community. That was like the initial, like what we started Fairmint on. But then very quickly we realized that one of the issue was that exactly equity was kind of locked up, right? Like we needed better rails. And so this is why right now, like really our mission is really to bring equity on chain, because like equity is locked up in databases, in Excel sheets. It's very hard to move. And blockchain is really like the perfect rails for equity. And so we've been at it for the past years to bring equity on chain.
So are your bigger challenges product-wise, technology-wise, or like legal and regulatory-wise?
So I guess at the beginning, we iterated a bit, because the main question, like when you want to bring equity on chain, is how do you represent equity on chain, right? And so at the very beginning, like all the industry was like, oh, you need to tokenize equity, right? So you need to create a token that's a legal representation of your equity on chain. And we started with that approach, but we realized at some point that it was a dead end. And the reason is very simple, is that equity, unlike any other asset, equity lives on cap tables, right? It's not like something that just lives in the air. Like it lives on cap tables, and those cap tables, they are off chain. They are on an Excel sheet. They are in a database. And so as soon as you want to interact or do something with your equity, you need then to interact with those off-chain like a solution. So your off-chain Excel sheet, your off-chain cap table, and so that creates a ton of friction. And so this is why, like, we realize that if you tokenize your equity, you're maybe creating more problems than you're solving. Because in the end, if you want to move your equity on chain, well, you still need to interact with like the legacy system that is not on chain, right? And so I guess the biggest realization of like the past years was that if we want to really reap the benefit of putting equity on chain, you need the whole ecosystem on chain. You need the investors on chain, the issuers on chain, but you need the freaking cap table on chain. And this is how we reinvented Fairmint over the years. And probably we're going to talk about this, but like for us, the huge aha moment when there was like this tectonic shift in the equity world, where like with the Open Cap Table Coalition. Yep. So you know all about it, right? Like I guess every year at the LegalTech Fund Summit, there's like the summit of the OCF too. But basically, just to make it short, is all the top tier one securities lawyer in the US who all gathered, and with industry players like us, and to say, okay, we need to settle down and create the first open source format to represent capitalization data instead of exchanging Excel sheet back and forth. And so it was in May 2023, they released the first open source format for cap table. And basically what we did at Fairmint is we took this and we said, this is perfect, and we're going to use that and bring it on chain. And so this is really, because when you say you need to bring cap tables on chain, like it is, you cannot invent a format that's not going to be compatible with everybody. So by using this format, now we're de facto compatible with the entire like securities world. And so this is what made it so exciting.
Yeah, the standardization of data has just been like critical in every industry. This is one that's just been behind it, but behind the times.
Exactly.
But without interoperability, it's, you know, or I should just say with it, it opens up so many possibilities for so much innovation. If you were talking to somebody today, how would you pitch Fairmint? Like what are they, what is the pitch today? What is your customer profile?
Right. So Fairmint is by far the easiest way to issue and manage equity. And I don't even say on chain, to issue and manage equity. And so just to give you an idea, like what funders love is they use us right now. Our bread and butter is if you want to raise from many investors, right? If you want to raise from one investor, okay, you do a safe. Okay, fine. Like if you start to want to raise from like 10, 20, 30, so we have customers who raise from like 300, 400 investors, it becomes a huge mess, right? And so we make that process completely streamlined. So by streamline, what I mean, you go to Fairmint, you create investment links, right? So you say, okay, like I want to create a link for that investor who wants to invest $10,000 or like $100,000. You send the link, and then you just sit down and go on your business. Because what's going to happen is we're going to take over. So we're going to do all the compliance for you, the contract execution, the sending of the funds. And what's going to happen is at some point you're going to receive the funds in your bank account or on your wallet if you want to receive it as USDC. And you're just going to receive a notification in your Slack saying, hey, Zach from the LegalTech Fund just invested like $200,000 in your company. And you had nothing to do. So this is really the haha moment for customers. They're like, wow, you made a process that usually was a mess, something like extremely simple. And we go all up to the cap table management, meaning like not only you onboarded all those investors, but then we also update automatically your cap table on the background, so you have nothing to do. So it's very integrated solution to like raise fund from as many investors as you want.
And the construct is this can really facilitate like community-driven growth.
Exactly. Obviously, like our customers right now, so most of our customers, they are like from pre-seed, seed, Series A. That's kind of like early stage customers. And yeah, most of them, they want their community or they want to do an angel round. So there's basically three categories, like friends and family type of fundraising at the very, very beginning. Then like a safe angel round. And then for Series A and Series B, when like companies have an allocation for angels, right? And they want to onboard their angels. And so that's really like most of the customers that we onboard today. And one thing they love also is that if you use Fairmint, you don't have to deal with any SPV or RUV, we remove, by being on chain, we're able to remove all intermediaries. So that makes things a lot cheaper, a lot easier, a lot faster, and a lot more flexible. I'll give you a very concrete example. The funds, if you create an SPV as a founder, so you need to collect the funds into the SPV, and then at some point you need to close the SPV, and then the SPV needs to wire the money. It takes a long time. You need to deal with the entity creation, with bank accounts. Like with Fairmint, you don't need to have an SPV, and the money flows directly to your bank account. So you don't need to wait to close and get the money. No, you meet an investor, you send him a link, and a few hours or a few days, if the investor is slow after, you just receive the money in your bank account and a nice notification telling you that this happened.
It's nice that you're removing all the friction. If only everybody would do what they say they're going to do in the right amount of time, that would make life a lot easier as well. But no, it's amazing. It's interesting to see Fairmont removing that stuff. So if we kind of fast forward to 5 years, like where do you see Fairmont going? Like where are you guys? Where does the product evolve to? How do you think about things?
So the next step for us, so let's do next year and then 5 years. But the next step for us is really to become a broker dealer, because right now we're the best solution to issue equity. We want to become the exclusive solution, the best solution to transfer equity, right? There's a lot of these investors who invested, especially if you talk about community investing. Those are not big investors, right? If you're a big investor, you're set up for a fund that's going to last 10 years. You don't need liquidity immediately. Actually, you don't want at all. You want to maximize and reinvest if the company is doing well. So you're not interested in liquidity. It's completely different for small investors. Small investors, at some point, they get married, they want to buy a car, they want to buy a house. And so they want some liquidity. And as a founder, you're also happy to give it to them to clean your cap table, right? The problem is today is super cumbersome to do that. And again, because equity, the rails that we're using for equity today are not the right ones. And so what's going to happen is we're going to become a broker dealer, and then we're going to use all this creativity that you see today in crypto, in DeFi. We want to unleash that creativity, that new design space for the securities world, so that it becomes extremely simple for founders to create liquidity programs that they can really pilot with their board, saying, okay, you know what? You invested 5 years ago. Starting today, just log on to your wallet, and we decided that you can sell up to that amount of shares for a fixed price that we decided. If you're in, just go and we'll vet the investors coming in, and we'll make sure that you have the liquidity that you wanted. So all in very founder-friendly process, right? And then, so that's the next step, and then we grow with our customers. And so if you ask me my dream is that I'd want to power the first on-chain IPO. At some point, I want a company using Fairmint to go public, so that we can have unrestricted stock, public stock on the blockchain, and powered by Fairmint. That would be awesome.
And do you think that the decentralized, that all these models can coexist at the same time, or do you think that, how do you see that playing out? I guess that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to bridge
the crypto models and equity. What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to, or maybe the way to think about it is you guys are almost a bridge between the two worlds.
Yes. And so okay. I see your question. That's interesting, because there's a lot of in crypto right now. So everything, exactly when I started, and I was a VC before Fairmint, and people were coming to me in crypto and saying, here's why my token is not a security. Everybody would start their pitch like this. Here's why it's not a security. And then they would go on, and everything they would say would scream security. and so the idea here is yes, we need to give a legal way for those tokens to be securities, right? And so in the crypto world right now, everybody's trying to have these tokens somehow accrue value without infringing on them being a security. Because if it's a security, then there's all the compliance and stuff like this. Our approach is that the two are completely complementary. Yeah, you can issue tokens like utility tokens, but don't tell people that it's going to accrue value. It's a utility token. if you want to have tokens that now, like legally, you can say, okay, this token is going to accrue value because it represents equity, because it represents a revenue share, because it represents, I don't know, debt, whatever. Now you're in the securities world, and we are here to provide that infrastructure that enables like those securities to live on chain.
Gotcha. You know, people listening live now, people will be, we've seen lots of people viewing these afterwards. Do you have an ask, or how can people be helpful to you? And yeah, just curious if you have any ask for the audience.
So obviously, if you're directly a customer and interested, if you're thinking about fundraising right now and you want to make your life easier, just come chat with us. Like worst case scenario, you'll have great advice on how to structure your fundraising. But yeah, like Fairmint is free. If you don't use our premium features, you can just go use Fairmint, like the link system that I was saying. You can just access it. So do that. And then I think something that is, so I don't want to spoil it because we haven't announced it yet, but if you have an ecosystem like with founders, if you're a VC and you have like founders and you want to facilitate co-investments in like the founders that are in your ecosystem, yeah, please reach out, because we have something that is going to be extremely powerful to enable this type of co-investment into the founders that you're backing, or the founders that are in your ecosystem that you want to support.
Awesome. And then how do people reach out to you? Where's the best place to find you?
So best place. So LinkedIn is okay, but I'm not the most reactive on LinkedIn, I must say. I'm more on Twitter. And yeah, otherwise Thibauld, Thibauld at Fairmint.com. So yeah, you have my name.
Awesome.
So Thibauld at Fairmint.com is the most efficient and reliable.
Awesome. Well, Thibauld, I thank you so much for taking a few minutes. Appreciate your time, and we love having you guys in the portfolio, and looking forward to talking soon.
Thank you very much, Zach.
Thank you.